Hi, I'm Dave, founder of Halloween Year Round, and today I'm talking about Jurassic Park and World. It's a franchise that means a lot to me, or at least the first movie does. Let's rewind back. The year is 1993. I am 4 years old, and like many children of that age, I am obsessed with dinosaurs. Even before the movie came out, I could rattle off names like Tyrannosaurus Rex, Velociraptor, Dimetrodon, pterodactyl, allosaurus, brontosaurus, apatosaurus, they're the same one, brachiosaurus, you name it, I knew it. I had all these dinosaur books, and because I was so interested and obsessed with dinosaurs, my mom took me to see the original Jurassic Park. Again, I'm 4 years old, but she thought, Dave's really into dinosaurs. I think he'll like this movie. And I did. Even the part when the lawyer gets eaten by the T Rex, my mom attempted to cover my eyes, but I just thought it was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. And to this day, it remains one of my favorite movies ever made. I will argue this till the day I die. It's my favorite Universal movie ever made. I know my wife and brother will argue that it's Back to the Future. My father in law will argue that it is Jaws. But to me, it's Jurassic Park. So I have really, really mixed feelings about the franchise as a whole because if I'm being honest, there aren't really any truly great Jurassic Park or World sequels. Each one tries very hard to recapture the magic. None of them really comes close to the original. So, with the release of Jurassic World Rebirth, I wanted to look over the franchise as a whole and do something a little differently. I was going to rank these numerically, but I feel like this is such a bizarre franchise that I kind of have to do it as a tier ranking. And I'll kind of get into why as I get into them. So, without further ado, here are my tier rankings of the Jurassic Park franchise. I had a lot of fun making these categories because I feel like they are truly reflective of how I feel about this franchise. We, of course, have Masterpiece at the very top, and then a huge drop down to just decent to dumb but fun, frustrating, and of course, at the bottom, WTF. Now, both the first and last category are pretty much reserved for only one movie in the franchise, with the other five kind of fitting between them. Why did I go through all the trouble to make these rankings and make these weird categories? Because it's the only way I can truly express how I feel about this franchise. So let's start from the beginning. The OG Jurassic Park, the shirt that I'm wearing, the classic movie I saw when I was 4 years old. I already told you it's one of my favorite movies ever made. It's the best Universal movie ever made. It's automatically in Masterpiece. I think all of you can understand why. I think that it's pretty obvious that it was always going to be in Masterpiece. To this day, 30 plus years later, those dinosaurs still look real. It has the magic. It Spielberg wows us for the first half with the awe of dinosaurs themselves. And then it goes full monster horror movie for the second half. It is just as effective. And even all these years later, with advancements in CGI, the dinosaurs still look better in 1993 than they do in 2001, than they do in 2015, 2018, 2022, and even 2025. The Lost World Jurassic Park. Now, this is one, again, I saw this in theaters when it came out. I guess I would have been 7. I think I was in like second grade. It came out that Memorial Day weekend. And I enjoyed it for what it was. I loved it as a kid. And even going back and looking at it, I know it gets a lot of hate for the San Diego sequence at the end where the T Rex is roaming around the city. I like that, and in a way, that was our first taste of Jurassic World, or the promise that those sequels would later give. The Lost World delivered on, and looking back on it, I really love that it has this, like, spirit of adventure. You've got Spielberg back, you've got Crichton back, even though I know Crichton later admitted that The Lost World was not his best work. His arm was twisted into writing it to begin with, but all that considered, It's still a decent movie. I like it. I don't love it. No, it doesn't hold a candle to its predecessor, but it has enough going for it I really like. Ian Malcolm works as a protagonist. It still has the really great practical dinosaur effects that look real enough. It hasn't gone full bad CGI. We'll get to that with the third movie and then on. But I I like enough about it. I love the score, the like dun 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 na na na. Like obviously the original theme still brings tears to my eyes, but it's a decent movie. It's a decent sequel, and considering how great the first movie is and how terrible some of these other later sequels are, The Lost World looks pretty good by comparison. Jurassic Park 3. What to do with you? Do I go with the infamous Raptor Allen sequence? Do I go with the terrible CGI Brachiosaurus? Do I mention it trying to replace the T Rex with a Spinosaurus as like the big badass dinosaur, even though the Spinosaurus is never really mentioned in the original Jurassic Park? So we're to assume that they just created that one too on Isla Sorna. It also doesn't even feel like the same island we were just at in the Lost World. And the whole thing is this. I mean, this is the part that's getting into like these movies feeling like big budget sci-fi channel original Escape from Dinosaur Island movies. Jurassic Park 3 is the first one to do that. Yes, it brings back Alan Grant. Yes, it's always fun to see Sam Neill do Jurassic Park things, but so I rewatched all these movies to prepare for this list, and even now as I'm looking back on them all, this one's kind of the most forgettable. It has its moments. If I had a category for meh, I'd probably put it in there. I'm gonna give it dumb but fun. I'm not saying that it's lower on the dumb but fun totem pole, but there are enough silly moments in it that I at least laugh at it. But if we're talking the overall franchise, Jurassic Park 3 is the one that is probably the most forgettable to me. Now on to Jurassic World. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I know how popular Jurassic World is. I remember when it came out, I was a minority dissenter in my negative opinion of it. Everyone praised it. Everyone said it was the best Jurassic Park sequel ever. It recaptured the magic of the original. I don't think it did any of those things. Yes, it's interesting to see the park actually open and fully realized, what Hammond's dream was always supposed to be. Yes, in theory, in concept, that's cool. But it kind of does the same thing Force Awakens does, and I really don't like Force Awakens for this reason. It's just a cheap rehash of what we already saw before. It's a remake of Jurassic Park. It doesn't do anything new, different. It gives us the Indominus Rex. He's not that different from a T-Rex, but they can call it different. And the whole idea of like genetic mutation and splicing, okay, fine, interesting, whatever. But when your dinosaur gets on the loose, at what point do the owners of the park say to Dr. Henry Wu, no, tell us now everything that's in this dinosaur? It felt like each scene that it does something new, he's like, well, actually, we added this DNA to do this. Why the hell didn't you tell them from the start? The movie itself tries very, very hard to take Chris Pratt at the height of his fame. He's just done Guardians of the Galaxy. It wants to make him the face of another franchise. And as much as I love Chris Pratt, he can't save this movie for me, which other entries in this movie are dumb, but at least fun and entertaining to me. Jurassic World is just frustrating to me because all it's doing is reminding us of a better other movie, and it doesn't really have anything to say or do that is unique or interesting on its own. Which brings us to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. which again, I have very, very mixed feelings on. I love the change of pace. In theory, I love the idea of the volcanic eruption on the island because it gives us sort of a way to recreate the extinction event that wiped out the dinosaurs. But the entire third act that turns into like this dinosaur murder slasher in the Clue Mansion, I have very mixed feelings on. It also does that really frustrating thing where Benjamin Lockwood, who, surprise, he was there all along. No, he wasn't. Is like, oh, you're up to no good. You're a bad guy. You're trying to sell dinosaurs on the black market. He pulls the Ned Stark thing where he tells the bad guy, I know what you're up to. I know what you're doing. Just for the bad guy to then have him killed. And, well, if you hadn't said all that, he wouldn't have killed you. If you. I'm torn because I like certain sequences in it. I do think it's silly with the whole, again, they're obsessed with these genetic splices and the Indoraptor, and a truly silly plot device where you have to point a laser pointer at someone to get the dinosaur to chase them. If you could do that, why not just shoot the person? Like, if you have to get close enough to point a laser at your enemy to get the dinosaur to go after him, you're close enough to just shoot them, and you don't even need the highly volatile, dangerous prehistoric predator that might turn on you. I'm feeling generous today, and I'm gonna give it dumb but fun. Maybe on another day I would have put it in frustrating, but I think there's enough in it that I enjoy on paper that I'm willing to admire certain sequences that I like. Again, the volcanic eruption scene is dramatic, is really cool. I love that they shot the orb scene and at an actual roller coaster. So it has more Jurassic World. I hated all the CGI in. Fallen Kingdom goes back to practical animatronics for a lot of them, and it's a change that's very welcome and that is very noticeable. Hey, Jurassic World Dominion. Where to begin? Fallen Kingdom teases at the end that this is truly a Jurassic World because the dinosaurs are out with the humans, and there's so much potential there for what you could do with the next movie. And Dominion gives us that potential for like 5 minutes in that news segment about like what it's like for people and dinosaurs to coexist. And then it pivots hard into this really weird story about locusts and crops and human extinction and corporate espionage. It almost feels like it's trying to be a James Bond movie where they're like, "Oh right, yeah, there's supposed to be dinosaurs in this. We know that we promised you that the dinosaurs are going to be out in the world, but half of this movie is going to take place at this dinosaur sanctuary, isolated from the rest of the world, because we need our characters all in this one place for everything to happen." It brings back the original three leads, which, as much fun as it is to see them come back, it never really justifies their reason to do so. And then when it tries to team them up with Claire and Owen, it just feels really forced where they're all trading one-liners with each other. And it just feels like if Jurassic World is the Force Awakens of this series, Dominion is the Rise of Skywalker. It makes a lot of really, really bizarre choices that don't pay off. And I specifically created the category of WTF for it. Now let's talk Jurassic World Rebirth. If you've seen my review, you know where I'm putting this. It's going in the dumb but fun. This movie, it's probably my favorite of the three in that category because it understands what we always wanted from these Jurassic Park sequels. It was never about wanting legacy characters and nostalgia and just remaking the first one. It's just a dinosaur movie. We just want to see people in danger being eaten by dinosaurs. In a way, Rebirth feels the most Sci Fi Channel original movie Escape from Dinosaur Island, but the difference is it kind of owns it and it kind of just has fun with it. So when I put it in the dumb but fun, it is the only one of those three that seems like it knows what it's doing and it doesn't mind being dumb because its goal is just to have fun. And I was very pleasantly surprised by that. And that's a wrap on our list. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks to those of you who stayed until the very end. Let me know in the comments, what am I wrong about? Where would you put your rankings? Come at me with an argument. It's what YouTube is for. Like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. If you don't, you may end up getting stuck on a weird dinosaur inhabited island that's supposed to be guarded from the public and quarantined, but somehow your sailboat was able to just kind of get there easily. And as always, every day is Halloween.